The Legend of Jigong, Chapter 87.
So let's go back to that opening scene. Hua Qingfeng is watching this massive snake shrink and fly away, and he's dumbfounded.
I mean, who wouldn't be?
He is literally gasping for air, and then old Taoist Chang walks up behind him.
Yes. Jiang walks up and essentially takes full credit for the spectacle.
Like it was his own personal light show.
Pretty much. He says in so many words, "Did you see that? That's the kind of magic I'm associated with."
He is totally flexing his spiritual muscles.
He really is. He wants Hua Qingfeng to know that his magical network, his sphere of influence, is incredibly powerful.
He makes an offer.
Right.
Yeah, he says that if Hua Qingfeng ever needs anything, he will help him out, even if it means risking his life.
Which establishes this immediate sense of a corrupt network.
Like a brotherhood of convenience and power among these figures, they are hoarding magical capital.
Wait, I'm struggling with this right out of the gate.
What's tripping you up?
Well, if these Taoists possess literal world-bending, magic-like shrinking mountain-sized snakes and bending reality, why do they care about impressing each other?
That's a really good point.
Like, why do they need a network? Couldn't they just conjure whatever they want out of thin air?
It's a fantastic question, and it cuts to the heart of how magic functions in this specific literary universe.
So it has limits.
Absolutely. Magic here isn't an infinite cheat code for daily life. It is often highly specialized.
Oh, like you need certain skills for certain things.
Right. It requires immense energy, specific artifacts, or decades of cultivation. You can't just wave a wand for everything.
Okay, that makes sense.
But more importantly, the text suggests that magic cannot easily conjure raw, enduring social capital or stable economic wealth.
So you can't just conjure a pile of gold.
Exactly. You can turn a stone into a mountain for a few minutes, but you can't just permanently conjure 10,000 flawless silver ingots.
Without breaking some sort of cosmic rule, I assume.
Right. Doing that would upset the cosmic balance or draw the attention of higher celestial authorities.
And they definitely don't want the supernatural IRS looking into their finances.
Exactly. So they still have to operate within human economies. They use their magic as leverage,
As a tool for intimidation and control, rather than a printing press for money.
Precisely. They still need human currency to maintain their earthly temples, buy influence, and feed their vanity.
That makes perfect sense. They are constrained by the mundane world even while they manipulate it.
It keeps them greedy.
And that brings us right to our instigator, Jiang Tianrui. He arrives at the Lingxiao Taoist temple with a very specific, very grounded business problem.
He isn't seeking enlightenment.
No, he is seeking venture capital.
Exactly. It is a problem of infrastructure and capital. Jiang Tianrui resides at the Iron Buddha Temple.
As a falling about, right?
Yeah, he explains that his temple has fallen into severe disrepair over time. He wants to renovate it, to rebuild it into something magnificent.
A real vanity project.
Oh, totally. But the scale of the project is massive. He flat out admits that he cannot fund this alone.
Right, he needs cash. A lot of it.
He needs 10,000 taels of silver to complete the construction. So he is coming to his spiritual peers, to old Taoist Chang and his network.
To ask for a fundraising strategy.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that number for a second, because I want to make sure we understand the scale of what is happening. 10,000 taels of silver.
It's an astronomical amount.
Right. Based on the economic realities of the time the story is set, that is not a small ask. A single tael of silver could often support a peasant family for months.
Also one tael, yeah.
We are talking about the equivalent of a massive, multi-million-dollar capital campaign for a mega-church renovation.
That is the perfect analogy. It is an exorbitant sum meant to fund a vanity project.
He just wants to show off.
Jiang isn't just fixing a leaky roof. He wants to project dominance and wealth.
And this is where the story takes a sharp turn from a spiritual fantasy into something that feels chillingly like an organized crime syndicate.
It gets really dark really fast.
Because old Taoist Chang doesn't suggest a bake sale. He doesn't suggest going door to door asking for alms.
Or organizing a community volunteer day.
No, Chang's solution is shocking in its cruelty, its scale, and its sheer logistical efficiency.
It's just brutal. He tells Jiang to go home and immediately put up promotional poster.
Posters? Like advertising?
Literally advertising.
Yeah.
Announcing that the Iron Buddha of his temple is going to manifest itself to cure illnesses.
Essentially a marketing campaign for a miracle.
Right. And then Jiang says he is going to go to Kiowa County, which is this massive region consisting of over 800 distinct villages.
800.
And he is going to spend 3 days systematically spraying toxic magic gas into all the rivers and all the community wells.
Wait, he is going to poison the drinking water of an entire county. Over 800 villages.
That is the business plan, yes.
I mean, imagine your own neighborhood relying on a single water source, like a municipal reservoir, and the local pharmacist is the one intentionally poisoning it.
Just so they can sell you the antidote.
Exactly. It's monstrous.
Precisely. The text notes that anyone who drinks this tainted water will immediately contract something called gusheng.
Which translates to what, exactly?
It translates to a severe swelling disease, basically ascites. It is a horrific, highly visible, and agonizing affliction.
So it's not a subtle poison.
Not at all. The abdomen swells up dramatically, it causes immense pain, and because it spreads through the water supply, it causes immediate, widespread panic.
Jiang is manufacturing a public health crisis on a massive regional scale.
He's playing God, but just to make a buck.
It's like they're breaking the neighborhood's windows so they can sell them the glass, but escalated to the level of biological terrorism.
That's exactly what it is.
They are creating a devastating problem, specifically so they can monopolize the solution. But again, I have to ask about the mechanics of this.
Sure.
Why poison the water? Why not just use magic to make people hallucinate or feel sick?
Because water is the ultimate equalizer. It ensures total market penetration.
Everyone has to drink.
Right. If you rely on a curse or an illusion, people might seek different spiritual healers or dismiss it.
Or they might just think they're going crazy.
Exactly. But by physically poisoning the water supply, you guarantee that every single living creature in those 800 villages will be afflicted.
And they can't avoid it.
Furthermore, it creates a physical symptom, the swelling, that requires a physical cure.
Which Jiang is conveniently selling.
Exactly. It's supply and demand artificially created.
And the monetization strategy they come up with for this cure is incredibly detailed. It's not just a flat fee.
No, they actually implement a highly calculated tiered pricing model.
It's so cynical. They use that giant python, the one that shrank down in the beginning, and have it act as the physical manifestation of the Iron Buddha at the temple.
Right. They dress it up in the narrative of the posters.
The python actually speaks and pretends to be the deity dispensing the magic cure. And here's their pricing structure.
Get ready for this.
If you are from a rich family, the cure costs 1 tael of silver.
Which, as we established, is a lot.
But if you are from a poor, struggling family, the cure costs 1 dao of copper coins.
Which is brilliant from a purely sociopathic, extortionist standpoint.
It really is. It is textbook price discrimination.
They know that if they only charge a high price of 1 tael of silver, the vast majority of the peasants will simply die.
Because they literally do not possess that kind of money.
Right. And if they die, the scammers lose out on that revenue stream entirely. A dead peasant pays nothing.
So they discount it for the poor.
By lowering the price for the poor to 1 dao of copper, which is still a painfully significant amount of money for a subsistence farmer.
Roughly equivalent to 1,000 copper coins, right?
Yeah. By doing that, they ensure that every single family, regardless of their economic status, can be bled completely dry.
They are extracting the maximum possible capital from every tier of society.
It's ruthless.
And old Taoist Jiang is so confident in this business model. He tells Tianrui that his original goal was 10,000 taels. But with this scam, they won't just hit that goal.
They're going to shatter it.
He projects a return of 100,000 taels within 10 days, just by poisoning innocent people.
It's a venture capitalist's dream.
Do these men feel any remorse? Is there any hesitation in the text?
Absolutely none. The text makes it exceedingly clear that to them, this is purely a transactional business model.
They just don't care.
The population of these 800 villages isn't a group of living, breathing human beings with families and lives to them.
What are they then?
They are simply an unexploited resource, a crop to be harvested.
Wow.
It perfectly mirrors modern critiques of manufactured crises. Think about situations where a massive corporation creates a dependency.
Like proprietary software or even addictive substances.
Exactly, only to swoop in as the sole savior with a product you are now forced to buy.
It's the exact same playbook.
This ancient text is highlighting a recurring theme in human history where spiritual authority, or indeed any unquestioned institutional authority, is weaponized for pure financial gain.
They are leveraging the inherent trust people have in religious institutions against them.
And profiting massively from it.
So we've established the supply side of this extortion ring. The scam is in full swing.
The marketing works.
The people are sick, they are terrified, they are flocking to the Iron Buddha temple, and the giant python in disguise as a god is raking in the cash.
The silver is just rolling in.
And this is exactly when the collision of two worlds happens. This is when the mad monk, Jigong, enters the picture.
Enter the agent of chaos.
Jigong walks right into the middle of this massive, highly profitable operation. Now, he's a legendary figure with immense power.
Right, you'd expect a grand entrance.
You'd expect him to drop down from the sky with thunder and lightning, but what is his opening move?
It's so underwhelming in the best way.
He walks up to the fake Buddha, looked at this terrifying magical creature, and just gives it a slap across the face.
It is such a profoundly disrespectful, jarringly simple gesture.
Just smack.
Think about it. This python is a centuries-old magical creature with 100 years of cultivation, currently being worshipped by terrified masses as a literal deity.
It is projecting an aura of divine terror.
And Jigong just slaps it in the mouth.
And what's fascinating is how incredibly effective it is. The text notes that the python is immediately terrified and flees the temple.
It just runs away.
Why does that work? I mean, why does a slap defeat a 100-year-old magical beast?
Because the slap cuts right through the theatricality of the scam.
Oh, it breaks the illusion.
Exactly. The python's power in that moment relies entirely on the illusion of its divinity, the fear it is projecting.
And Jigong refuses to participate in that shared illusion.
Right. By slapping it, he isn't engaging in a magical duel. He's treating it like a misbehaving pet or an unruly child.
He shatters the aura of authority.
It is a psychological victory before it is a magical one. The python realizes instantly that its primary weapon, intimidation, has absolutely zero effect on this man.
But the python has an ego. It flees initially, flying up into the sky, but then it stops and has this very human internal monologue.
Which is kind of hilarious for a giant snake.
It really is. It thinks, wait a minute, this poor raggedy monk just chased me away. I have completely lost face.
The dreaded loss of face.
Yeah, it wonders, how can I possibly go back and show my face to my Taoist friends after being humiliated like this?
It's embarrassed.
So out of pure vanity and the fear of social embarrassment, the python decides it needs to go back and eat the monk.
Which is a fatal miscalculation born entirely of pride.
It really is.
The concept of face mianzi is a powerful cultural force representing social prestige and dignity.
And even magical snakes care about it.
Apparently so. The python is more afraid of looking weak in front of its corrupt peers than it is of the monk who just casually broke its illusion.
So it returns.
With a vengeance.
It conjures a dark wind, blotting out the sun, and drops down from the sky, reverting to a massive size. The text says 3 or 4 zang long, which is roughly 30 to 40 feet.
It's just a massive crushing weight.
It wraps its massive crushing coils completely around Jigong, pinning his arms to his sides.
No.
And it rears its giant head back, opening its jaws wide to bite his head off. This is constructed to be a terrifying cinematic moment of ultimate peril.
Like a classic monster movie scene.
Right. The crowd is watching this. The people who were just buying potions, the pilgrims burning incense, even the 4 armed guards, they all see this 30-foot monster wrap around this lone monk.
And they absolutely lose their mind.
Everyone scatters. They flee the temple in absolute terror.
I mean, wouldn't you?
I would be long gone. But here's where it gets really interesting. Look at Jigong's physical reaction to being constricted by a giant man-eating snake.
He doesn't even break a sweat.
He doesn't panic. He doesn't struggle or try to pry the coils off. The text says he just casually lifts his hand and pinches the snake's neck.
Just a little pinch.
Just a pinch. And instantly the python is completely paralyzed. It can't move a muscle.
That's just frozen there.
It just stares at the monk with its eyes wide open, totally immobilized. It's like someone casually swatting away a fly that landed on their arm.
It completely subverts the tension of the scene.
It turns a horror movie into a comedy.
Exactly. The text is playing with mechanics of power. The snake is using brute physical constriction, while Jigong is using pinpoint effortless control.
But I have to ask you this. If Jigong is so phenomenally powerful that a simple pinch paralyzes a 100-year-old magical beast,
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just destroy the snake outright, right then and there? Why just hold it by the neck and stand there?
That cuts to the core of Jigong's entire philosophy and methodology.
How so?
He is not a conventional action hero who just smashes the monster to resolve the plot. He is a teacher.
Albeit a very unorthodox, sometimes cruel one.
Very true. But by merely immobilizing the snake with a pinch and holding it there, he is demonstrating an overwhelming casual superiority.
He's showing off a bit.
In a way, yeah. He is showing that their terrifying magic is utterly trivial to him. But more importantly, Jigong tends to let situations play out so that the perpetrators of evil suffer the full weight of their own consequences.
So he's stalling.
He holds the snake there, frozen in its own failure, exposing the utter illusion of its power to anyone who might still be watching.
He is waiting for the architect of the scheme to arrive and witness the failure of his own enterprise.
He wants Jiang to see his business crumble.
And while Jigong is standing there, casually holding a paralyzed 30-foot python by the neck like it's a garden hose.
What an image.
We need to look at the demand side of this extortion ring. Who is actually paying this money? That takes us to the victims.
The people in the villages.
The story cuts away to Little West Village. Jiang Tianrui, the mastermind who needed the 10,000 taels, has traveled there with the bandit Hua Yunlong.
They're on a collection run.
And when they arrive, they're greeted by the local gentry, the wealthy, educated, respected elders of the village.
The community leaders.
And these elders approach Jiang with this desperate, tragic plea.
They approach him with complete, unadulterated reverence.
They literally fall to their knees.
They do. They explain that everyone in their village, young and old, has contracted this horrifying swelling disease.
Because Jiang poisoned them.
Exactly. But here is the tragic part. They don't suspect foul play.
They have no idea.
They believe it is a sign from the heavens, a divine punishment meant to compel them to fund the Iron Buddha temple renovations.
It's heartbreaking.
So they beg Jiang Tianrui to act as their holy intermediary. They say, we will gladly pool all of our resources. We will give you whatever silver you need for the temple. Just please pray to the Buddha to have mercy on us and cure our village.
They are completely tragically unaware that the holy man they are begging for salvation is the exact same man who ordered their municipal water supply to be laced with toxic magic in the first place.
It's just devastating irony.
It's a chilling psychological loop. I mean, how does a society get to a point where they don't even question the source of the plague?
It's all about conditioning.
They are literally thanking their abuser for the opportunity to pay him. They are willingly, eagerly handing over their generational wealth to the architect of their suffering.
They become incredibly vulnerable to manipulation.
Because they've outsourced their critical thinking to the temple.
Precisely. The gentry in Little West Village aren't stupid people. They are educated and wealthy.
But their worldview is a trap.
Their deeply ingrained worldview allows Jiang Tianrui to victimize them without ever raising a finger in violence. He doesn't have to threaten them with a sword.
He just lets their own faith do the extorting for him. But Jiang's victory lap in Little West Village, his moment of basking in their desperate adoration, is cut short.
Because word gets back about Jigong.
While he is negotiating this massive payout from the gentry, 2 other monks from his own Iron Buddha temple come sprinting in, completely panicked, out of breath.
They bring the bad news.
They tell Jiang everything is ruined. This ragged monk named Jigong is back at the temple, and he is tearing the whole operation apart.
And Jiang, of course, is furious.
Beyond furious. He promises the bandit Hua Yunlong that he's going to go back, capture Jigong, and let Yunlong kill him for revenge.
So they just ditch the gentry?
Yeah. Jiang and his entourage abandon the gentry and rush back to the temple.
And this leads to one of the most chaotic, structurally brilliant, and hilariously disastrous moments in the entire text.
I love this part. Jiang Tianrui arrives back at his temple and sees Jigong still just standing there.
Still holding the snake.
Patiently holding the massive python paralyzed by the neck. And Jiang is blinded by rage.
He's seeing red.
He sees his entire 100,000 tael business model, his grand enterprise, crumbling before his eyes.
So he attacks.
So he draws his magical sword, curses Jigong for ruining his affairs, and takes a massive, vicious swing aimed right at the monk's neck.
Going straight for the kill.
And this is where Jigong's seemingly passive defense turns lethal, but not by his own hand.
Right, Jigong doesn't actually strike back.
As the sword comes hurtling down, Jigong calmly chants a mantra, Om Shi Ling Hiba, and he just slightly ducks his head out of the way.
It's just a slight movement.
And because he was holding the python's neck right next to his own, Jiang's sword misses Jigong entirely and slices clean through the neck of his own giant python.
Snicker snack.
Exactly. The text describes the sound of the blade, the blood spraying everywhere in a massive fountain, and the heavy giant snake head rolling onto the stone floor.
It's quite graphic.
The physical body of the snake is destroyed, and the spirit of the python escapes as a streak of black smoke.
The CEO just killed his best earner.
In one blind, angry, unthinking swing, Jiang Tianrui accidentally decapitates his own star employee and destroys 100 years of the creature's magical cultivation.
It is a phenomenal scene, and it highlights a key thematic mechanism in how Jigong operates.
Which is?
Jigong rarely acts as the direct executioner. Instead, he creates conditions that cause his enemies to destroy themselves through their own aggression.
Like a mirror.
Exactly. Jiang's anger, his haste, his desperate, clinging need to protect his ill-gotten wealth, that is what actually kills the python.
Jigong merely stepped aside.
He let the physics of Jiang's rage play out to their natural conclusion.
And the psychological twist is that Jigong even thanks Jiang afterward.
Oh, the sarcasm.
He says, "Thank you, Taoist friend, for taking care of that for me. I was getting tired of holding it."
It is palpable, and it is designed to maximize Jiang's internal fury.
It's amazing. Jiang is just standing there, sword in hand, realizing he just murdered his own golden goose, and he is livid.
Well, yeah.
He yells at Jigong, "You ruined my great enterprise. I cannot let you live." But they look around and realize they can't fight an all-out magical war in the middle of the temple without destroying the very building Jiang is trying to renovate.
They don't want to break the windows they just paid for.
So they agree to take the duel out back, behind the mountain, where there are no innocent bystanders.
Taking it outside.
Jiang brings his entourage, the bandit Yunlong and the 2 monks, and Jigong casually follows them. When they get to this secluded rocky spot, Jiang Tianrui's arrogance really takes center stage.
You'd think he'd be humbled by now.
You would think, having just accidentally decapitated a massive magical creature because he lost his temper, he might approach this fight with a bit of caution.
Not at all. In fact, he doubles down on his delusion of supreme authority.
It's battling.
He looks at Jigong and demands total, unquestioning submission. He tells Jigong that if he truly understands the situation and wants to live, he will kneel on the ground, kowtow 3 times.
And what else does he demand?
He demands that Jigong refer to him as his ancestor 3 times.
Ancestor.
Yes. If Jigong does this humiliating act of subservience, Jiang claims he possesses a love for all living things and will mercifully spare Jigong's life.
It is the absolute height of hypocrisy.
It's astounding.
The man who just orchestrated the biological poisoning of 800 villages is standing there preaching about his boundless love for all living things, demanding to be worshipped as an ancestor.
It's cognitive dissonance on a massive scale.
I mean, the sheer audacity. But Jigong doesn't just mock him this time. The tone shifts here.
It gets serious.
He drops the comedy for a moment and delivers a searing, highly specific moral indictment. He lays out exactly why Jiang is going to face justice.
He doesn't just say, "You're a bad guy."
No, he lists the charges like a cosmic prosecutor.
Yes, Jigong articulates a very clear, objective list of crimes, breaking down exactly how Jiang has violated the spiritual and natural order.
Walk us through them.
He says, 1, as a spiritual person, you failed to keep to your duties and instead harbored a known, dangerous criminal, the bandit Hua Yunlong.
Aiding and abetting.
2, you used magic to deceive the public, creating false miracles.
Fraud.
3, you harmed innocent people, causing physical suffering entirely out of greed.
Assault and biological terrorism.
And 4, because of the culmination of these actions, you have angered both heaven and earth.
The ultimate crime.
Jigong makes it abundantly clear that this isn't a personal rivalry over who is the better magician. He tells Jiang, even if you bowed to me and called me ancestor, I could not forgive you.
Because the crimes are against the cosmic order itself.
The universe requires a balancing of the scale.
And upon hearing this absolute unyielding rejection of his authority, Jiang snaps. He raises his sword and charges at Jigong, trying to chop his head off.
Here we go.
And this kicks off the physical confrontation. Now, I want to talk about how this fight actually looks, because it is not an epic clash of swords.
No, it's not a wuxia movie.
It's not a martial arts movie where they are trading blows and blocking strikes with bursts of energy. Jiang is swinging wildly with deadly intent, and Jigong is just lightly dodging, spinning out of the way.
Just casually avoiding him.
But he doesn't just dodge, he actively annoys him. The text says Jigong runs circles around him. He pinches him.
More pinching.
He pulls on his robes. He touches him lightly and dances away. He is literally playing tag with a man who is trying to murder him.
It's absurd.
It feels like Aikido. He's not blocking the sword. He's taking Jiang's kinetic energy and his massive ego and simply stepping out of the way so Jiang collapses under his own weight. But why do it this way? Why not just disarm him?
Because the philosophy behind Jigong's fighting style is central to his identity and his pedagogical method.
As a teacher, you mean?
Right. As you said, he never meets force with force. When Jiang swings, Jigong isn't blocking the sword with a magical shield. He simply isn't occupying the space the sword passes through.
Be like water.
Exactly. But the pinching and pulling that is deliberate psychological warfare.
How so?
Jiang Tianrui is a man who relies entirely on his prestige, his authority, and his terrifying aura as the golden-eyed Buddha.
His brand, essentially.
By treating this deadly duel like a playground game of tag, Jigong is actively stripping away Jiang's dignity. He is forcing Jiang to look ridiculous in front of his own followers.
You cannot maintain an aura of an untouchable, fearsome deity when a ragged, laughing monk is pinching your sides.
And making you spin in circles until you are dizzy. He is breaking down the man's ego and his psychological armor before he even touches his magic.
Exhausting him on every level.
He is exhausting him spiritually and physically.
And it works perfectly. Jiang gets so frustrated, so humiliated, and so out of breath from swinging at empty air that he finally jumps back out of range.
He needs a breather.
He realizes he can't win a physical fight, not because Jigong is stronger or faster, but because he can't even land a hit.
So he escalates.
So he yells, "You brought this on yourself. I'm going to use my magic treasures."
Pulling out the big guns.
He reaches into his pouch and initiates the escalation of magic. This is where we see 3 distinct magical artifacts deployed by Jiang, and we see how effortlessly Jigong counters them.
The mechanisms here are fascinating.
Let's break these down, because they really are. The first artifact Jiang pulls out is called the Tianrui stone.
Right. He tosses this small, seemingly ordinary stone into the air while chanting a complex Taoist spell.
And what does it do?
The stone possesses the power to manipulate mass and scale. As it catches the wind, it expands massively, turning into something the text describes as being the size of Mount Tai.
A literal mountain.
Yes, it casts a massive shadow over the entire battlefield and drops straight down toward Jigong's head,
Intending to crush him flat into the earth.
It is an overwhelming display of raw, elemental force and material manipulation.
And Jigong just laughs.
Of course he does.
A literal mountain is falling on his head, and he laughs. He points his finger up at the falling mountain and recites the 6-syllable mantra Om Mani Padme Hum.
Followed by his own command, Om Chi Ling He.
Right. And instantly, this terrifying, mountain-sized boulder just shrinks back down. It reverts to its true form.
Which is tiny.
The text says it is just a tiny pebble about the size of a chicken egg, and it plops harmlessly onto the ground at his feet.
Just a little plink.
Why does a chanted mantra unravel a physical, magical artifact like that? What is the mechanism happening here?
This specific interaction is deeply significant in the context of the text's spiritual framework.
Let's get into that.
It's specifically about the historical friction and dialogue between Taoist and Buddhist philosophies in Chinese folklore. Jiang Tianrui is using what is heavily coded as Taoist artifact magic manipulating physical objects through complex spells, alchemy, and external energy to create physical destruction.
It relies on the material world.
Yes. Jigong, representing the enlightened Buddhist path, counters it not with a bigger weapon, not with a magic shield, but with the most fundamental, universal Buddhist mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum.
And what does that mantra represent here?
This is the mantra of ultimate compassion and the realization of emptiness. The text is making a clear philosophical statement about a spiritual hierarchy.
Oh, I see.
The purity and foundational truth of the mantra effortlessly dispels the material illusion of the Taoist weapon.
Because the massive size of the stone is ultimately an illusion.
A temporary manipulation of form, yes. The mantra, which represents the ultimate reality where all forms are empty, simply dissolves the illusion.
The magic of greed and materialism is no match for the magic of enlightenment and truth.
Exactly.
That is a brilliant way to understand it. The truth simply pops the balloon of the illusion.
Very well put.
So Jiang is furious that his mountain-crushing rock is now an egg-sized pebble. He reaches into his pouch again and throws out his second artifact.
That's strike 2 coming up.
He throws a physical object into the air, chants another spell, and it transforms into a massive, fierce, brightly colored tiger.
A magical summon.
It roars, shakes its massive head, swings its tail, and charges directly at Jigong to tear him apart with its fangs.
Another terrifying visual.
And once again, Jigong doesn't even flinch. He points, uses the exact same mantra Amani Padme Hum, and suddenly there's a flash of yellow light.
And what happens?
The terrifying beast hits the ground and turns out to be nothing but a paper tiger. Literally, a folded paper cutout of a tiger.
It is the literal manifestation of the idiom paper tiger.
It's almost a pun.
It looks terrifying, it projects immense power and a visceral threat, but it has absolutely no substance.
Which, wait a minute, that perfectly mirrors Jiang Tianrui himself.
Exactly. He projects the image of a god, he commands fear and respect, but underneath there is nothing but flimsy vanity and mortal greed.
Jigong's mantra doesn't violently destroy the tiger. It simply forces the illusion to drop.
Revealing the pathetic, fragile reality underneath, it is another layer of psychological dismantling.
So Jiang has lost his giant snake, his mountain-crushing stone, and his magic tiger. He is getting desperate.
Yeah.
He has one last trick.
The grand finale.
He stands there, chants a frantic spell, points his sword at the sky, stomps his foot on the ground, and suddenly the sky is filled with thousands of falling rocks.
A literal rain of stones.
Bombarding the area where Jigong is standing, designed to pummel him to death.
If you can't hit him with one big rock, try 1,000 small ones.
And Jigong's counter to this is the most nonchalant, almost insulting thing yet. He doesn't even use a verbal mantra this time.
He just uses a prop.
He just casually takes off his monk's hat, this floppy, worn-out, dirty hat, and holds it out in front of him.
He uses the hat like a catcher's mitt.
A magical catcher's mitt.
But it's not a normal hat. Just as Jigong is not a normal monk, all of the thousands of heavy stones falling from the sky are magically drawn directly into the small opening of the hat,
It acts like a black hole.
absorbing the entire barrage without tearing or overflowing. The physical space inside the hat defies the material dimensions of the stones.
And then, just to completely rub his face in it, Jigong says, "I guess I have to teach you a lesson today."
Class is in session.
He tips the hat over, and outpours an entire mountain of stones onto the ground. He caught a deadly avalanche in a tiny dirty hat and just dumped it out like spare change.
It's hilarious.
And this is the breaking point. Jiang is out of weapons, out of magic, out of breath, and completely outmatched.
He's done.
Jigong decides it is finally time to end the fight, but he doesn't draw a weapon. He points his finger directly at Jiang Tianrui and says one word, Om Chi Ling He.
And immediately, Jiang shivers.
He completely loses control of his own nervous system, and his hand raises up and aggressively slaps him across the face.
And Jigong stands there directing it like an orchestra conductor.
He really does.
He says, "That's right, hit yourself, hit harder, do it a few more times." And Jiang's body is compelled to obey.
He repeatedly and violently slaps his own face until his mouth is bruised and covered in blood.
And then Jigong gives the final, ultimate order.
Which is rough.
He says, "You deserve to be beaten, now rip off your own beard."
Oh.
And Jiang, weeping and struggling against his own muscles, is magically compelled to grab his own facial hair and violently tear it from his face, root and all.
So what does this all mean?
Wow.
Let's pause and look at this justice system. Why does Jigong stop at beard pulling and slapping?
It seems minor, right?
For a guy who just orchestrated a bureaucratic scheme to murder thousands of people through biological poisoning, who extorted the desperate, and who just tried to crush a monk with a mountain, feed him to a tiger, and stone him to death.
Yeah.
This feels like a slap on the wrist, literally. What is the logic here? Is this true justice?
It is a question of what constitutes true devastation for the specific sinner involved.
Okay, unpack that for me.
For a man like Jiang Tianrui, who demanded to be worshipped, who demanded that others kneel and call him ancestor, physical death might actually be less traumatic than public, uncontrollable self-humiliation.
Oh, because it destroys his face.
Exactly, by making him slap his own face and rip out his beard, which in traditional Chinese culture is a profound symbol of wisdom, seniority, and masculine dignity.
He's literally losing face.
Jigong is completely dismantling Jiang's identity. He is proving that Jiang has zero control, not even over his own limbs, let alone the cosmos.
He is destroying his face in both the literal bloody sense and the figurative social sense.
Furthermore, from a philosophical standpoint, Jigong stops at humiliation and an oath rather than execution because it aligns with the core Buddhist belief in karma and redemption.
Giving him a chance to change.
The belief that even the most corrupt individuals can and indeed must be given the opportunity to choose to reform. To kill him outright removes the possibility of enlightenment.
Right, because after Jiang is bleeding, crying, and beardless, he finally surrenders.
He gives up.
The illusion of his power is completely broken. He is in agony, and he realizes how terrifyingly outclassed he is. He falls to his knees, begs for mercy, calling Jigong master, and promises to change his ways.
But Jigong isn't naive.
Not for a second. He can read the man's soul. He says, "I fear your mouth does not match your heart."
He doesn't trust the apology, and he shouldn't.
So he forces Jiang to take a very specific, magically binding oath before he will release the spell.
Yes, Jiang has to swear aloud that if he does not genuinely repent and permanently change his ways, he will suffer a lightning tribulation.
A lightning tribulation.
He swears that lightning from the heavens will strike him, shatter his skull, and destroy him completely, body and soul.
It is a promise of inescapable cosmic justice.
Jigong is effectively saying, I am sparing you today, but the universe is watching your every move. If you continue down this path of evil, the heavens themselves will execute the sentence.
It leaves Jiang alive, but under the constant, terrifying, existential threat of divine retribution if he ever returns to his corrupt, extortionist ways.
It forces him to police his own behavior.
And with that terrifying oath sworn, Jigong just dismisses him. He waves his hand and says, "You may go."
The trial is over.
The grand mastermind, the Golden Eyed Buddha, is defeated, reduced to a bleeding, trembling, beardless mess, shuffling away in disgrace.
A total collapse.
But there was someone else watching this entire ordeal. Someone who has been very quiet.
A bandit.
Hua Yunlong, the bandit, whose presence at the temple helped kick off this whole confrontation. Yunlong has been standing there, frozen in terror.
Just watching this ragged monk casually dismantle the most powerful magic he has ever seen.
And when Jigong dismisses Jiang, he slowly turns his attention, looks right at the bandit, and says, "Hua Yunlong, where do you think you were going?"
And that single, quietly spoken question completely shatters whatever nerve Yunlong had left.
He breaks.
The two monks who came with them run south in a panic, but Yunlong turns and sprints west. He doesn't try to fight.
He knows he can't win.
He is consumed by absolute, primal, blind panic.
The text describes his flight so vividly, and it's such a contrast to the magical duel we just saw.
It's very grounded terror.
It says he is running like a stray dog that has lost its home, like a desperate fish violently slipping through a net.
Just thrashing his way through the woods.
He is running for his life, crashing through the brush, and he doesn't even dare to look back over his shoulder. And the only thing he is focused on, the only thing he can hear, is the sound of Jigong's footwear.
Ah, the sandal.
Jigong wears straw sandals, and they make a distinct, rhythmic, guada sound when he walks.
Just guada.
Yunlong is just running and running, his lungs burning, until that sound finally fades away into the distance. He is exhausted, covered in cold sweat, completely physically and mentally depleted.
The psychological terror of those straw sandals is a brilliant, terrifying detail.
Why is that so scary to him?
It isn't the sound of a galloping war horse or an angry, shouting mob. It is just the steady, relaxed, unhurried footsteps of a monk in simple straw sandals.
Which means he isn't even trying hard to catch him.
But to the guilty, paranoid conscience of the bandit, that sound is more terrifying than an army. It represents an inescapable, inevitable reckoning that is calmly, patiently walking right behind him.
Like the monster in a slasher movie that just walks but always catches up.
It is the sound of his own karma catching up to him.
So Yunlong finally stops running. He is alone in the wilderness, exhausted. And he looks up and realizes he has stumbled upon an isolated, seemingly abandoned temple in the woods.
A sanctuary.
He thinks this is the perfect stroke of luck, a place to hide, to catch his breath, and to escape the terrifying monk.
But of course it's not empty.
As he approaches the crumbling boundary wall, he hears something inside. A woman is screaming for help.
She is yelling, "Help! You thief of a monk! You dare to kidnap women from good families! Let me go!"
And here we get a brilliant, dissecting look into the dark, twisted psychology of a true villain.
We just saw Jiang Tianrui's grand systemic evil.
And now we see Yunlong's opportunistic, micro-level evil. Hua Yunlong doesn't hear a woman crying for help and think, "I must save her because I've been given a second chance at life."
And I should do a good deed.
No. He is not experiencing a sudden redemption arc after surviving his encounter with Jigong.
Not at all. His internal monologue is laid bare, and it is entirely disgustingly selfish.
What does he actually think?
He peeks through a crack in the window and surveys the architectural setup. A courtyard with 3 rooms on the north, south, and west.
Case in the joint.
In the north room, he sees a monk with his back turned to the window. This monk has loose hair falling down his back and is wearing a distinctive golden headband.
And the monk is clearly trying to physically force himself on this young woman, who the text notes is in her 20s and quite beautiful.
Yanlong's thought process is essentially, if I sneak in and assassinate this monk from behind, I can take over this secluded temple as a great permanent hideout, and I can keep the woman for myself as a prize.
So he decides to play the hero purely so he can immediately step into the role of the new villain.
It is a masterclass in karmic irony, and it structurally mirrors the macro scam we saw at the beginning.
Oh, how so?
Just as Jiang Tianrui created a disease to sell the cure, Yanlong is attempting to stop an assault only to perpetrate his own.
Wow, that's a great connection.
He is attempting to perform an action that looks superficially heroic from the outside, but his underlying motivation is entirely predatory, parasitic, and self-serving.
He is an evil man, fleeing justice, trying to exploit another evil situation for his own personal gain.
It's like a dark, incredibly bleak comedy of errors.
Or one of those heist movies where the criminals turn off the lights to ambush the cops, but end up accidentally shooting each other in the dark because there's absolutely no honor among thieves.
That's exactly it.
Yanlong draws his blade, creeps into the room silently, completely focused on his selfish goal, and lunges. He stabs the monk right in the back, a deep, fatal blow.
A coward's strike.
The monk collapses instantly, and as he falls, his head rolls onto the wooden floor.
Yeah.
Yanlong takes a breath. He thinks he's just scored a massive victory.
He thinks he's safe.
He has secured a hidden base, he has a captive, he has won.
Until he steps closer to inspect his kill.
And he looks down at the face of the dead monk. The text tells us he looks closely at the loose hair and the golden headband.
Details he noticed earlier, but didn't process in his greed.
And he lets out a gasp of absolute horror. He realizes that the man he just murdered in cold blood, the man he stabbed in the back to steal his hideout, is not a stranger.
The text specifically says it is someone who is not an outsider.
He has just murdered an ally.
He killed his own friend.
The chapter ends right there on this massive, jaw-dropping cliffhanger.